Seven Unknown. I'd say it's just an amalgamation of a bunch of influences from a group of very close friends who have been making music since we were 15. So it's just like it's more of a passion project than it was any sort of more a passion project than it was trying to like come into a certain genre and be the next big thing. We were just trying to write music about what we felt and what genres were inspiring us at the time. It kind of ebbs and flows with whatever we're listening to. It just so happened to be quite miserable, hence our tagline, "Misery from the North."
Love that.
We all grew up listening to various types of music. Heavy music, something big, something we'll come back to. So the idea was to just kind of put that on paper and see what we could make. There was never any like grand plan to spearhead any sort of particular music, but heavy music is where we started, and it's what we grew up with, and it's what we love. We just hope people like it as well.
Yeah, I mean, how would you describe? You've just had your latest single come out. Was it Misery? I can't remember. Sorry, I had some.
That's all right. Decline.
That's what. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, well, I have been listening to it, and it's again, it's no surprise that we really loved, your music when we first worked with you guys. It was always you could tell that passion for kind of doing that heavier stuff was there, and I think that's been 2 years ago now. I can really see how that sound's really been developed. I guess my question would be, how has that sound developed over these past 2 years as you've kind of grown as a band, and where would you place yourself kind of in the genre? What would you describe you guys as?
Sure. So to begin with, it was just more, like I said, just passion, what we felt. So we were just trying out different sounds. Since that first initial song, like 2 years ago, I'd say we kind of come more into our own sound. So with Decline, it's more of a rock approach. There is some, metal elements in there, but there's a lot more melody than there was heavy stuff like there is in like Morning, for example, or a similar song that we've got. We basically, to sum it up, got our angst out in the first ones and wrote songs that maybe we thought, oh, I'd love to have wrote a song like X, example X. I'd love to write a song like that. So we did that, but through that we found more influences, like Modern Colour, for example. That was probably the biggest influence that we all discovered at the same time. That kind of changed us, not fully into a more rock kind of direction, but we wanted to write more kind of fast-paced rock stuff with some, metal sprinkled in there, because we all still like the aggression. I'd say we're still very much in the kind of like post-hardcore genre. We are looking to we've got some new songs that we're supposed to be recording in a couple of weeks that kind of take a lot of influence from bands like Block Party and Interpol. We're trying to coin it indiecore. I'm going to see how that goes. But right now, I'd say post-hardcore is where we are situated. That's probably what we all grew up listening to the most as well. Crooks being a big influence on all of us, Crooks UK, and Glassjaw, another big influence on us. So those, and Under Us. So post-hardcore kind of runs through our musical blood. Like old school post-hardcore, though, very old school. I guess showing our age a bit there. At the Drive-In as well would be like, the pinnacle influence for all of us. So we are just like a group of old men in spirit.
So in terms of next steps, I mean, you mentioned you're writing or you're rather recording a couple of new songs. What's sort of what is the next steps post that, looking forward maybe this year?
Yeah, so this year, we basically, so if I start the story from the beginning, last year we did stop for a bit just to kind of reassess, because everything was a bit overwhelming, and like being a band is a much different landscape than it used to be when I was in Bags, for example, or even before that. Things are a lot different now. So we reassessed and we came back stronger. So this year we've only really started taking it proper seriously. So we've only been fully active for like 2 months, but on paper we've been a band for like 4 years. This year the plan was to re-engage anyone who liked this last year, and try and grow quicker and to a wider audience than we did ever before, which we know we're seeing that work to a sense. It's only minimal gains, but they're still gains nonetheless. And it's nice to see that. For the rest of this year, we love changing. I guess it's because we're so erratic, but because we've written 3 new songs that are completely different to what we've written. There are some elements of, you know, what we used to write in there, but as I said, it's supposed to be like this indie core thing, but you don't have to coin that. That's just what we're calling it, to like give it a name, you know. We'd like to basically kind of go all in on that kind of sound, see how it goes, just like more of an experiment if anything else. And we've got some offers from some bigger people that can't talk about, not gigs wise, but just like, you know, partnership wise, I guess you could say. So we're looking forward to kind of working with them. So right now things are kind of up in the air until we finish these 3 songs, but it's looking positive for the rest of the year for sure. Hopefully we'll get some more gigs in at the end of the year. Not sure about summer, you know, festival season and all that. There's a band playing every other week at a festival, and if you're not there, then you're not there. So, but we'll see.
To London, because every time I see you playing, you're always fucking miles away.
I know. I'm sorry.
See, that's the problem. Like Bristol was close, but I think I was out in the States then, but I was like, fuck. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Everyone was busy for Bristol, but only me showed up in the end with their boyfriend.
I guess on that. We'll move into sort of more general quickfire questions, but for people perhaps listening to Heaven and Earth for the first time, what would you say to someone reading this or thinking about or discovering your band first time? What would you say to them? What would you tell them to expect, or what would you say to them? I think directly.
I'd say the way we kind of coin our stuff is just as we say it a lot, it's just misery. So we always say like, if you're into that kind of old school sound that you grew up with, and now you're a bit older like us, you'll probably enjoy us. But expect some beautiful vocals, some beautiful melodies, but at the same time, we will crush you with some heavy stuff, somewhere sprinkled into that song. So the main vibe, I'd say, is if you like screaming, you'll like us. But if you like singing, you'll like us as well. We just try and kind of encapsulate what misery sounds like. Is the best way of putting it.
Love that. No, that's a good end. We'll have to. I kind of want to sort of go into the quickfire now and say, ask what would be your top 3. And just before your answers, are you happy for this? We put something on socials because this sort of stuff. It's really nice to plug in and share kind of your. You know, I was listening to Escape the Fate this morning. I know that's probably up there.
Lovely, yeah. That first album is like one of my top 10 ever. Yeah.
I kind of want to ask, what you would say, perhaps for you, rather than speaking on the band's behalf, but for you, what has been your most influential albums? Be that top 3 or as many as you like.
Top 3. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. So for me, it will be first one will have to be From the Leaves of Your Garden by Modern Colour. That's like huge to me. I listen to that almost every day. Last year I was 0.1% of top listeners. Didn't share that. I was a little embarrassed, but pretty cool. Number 2, I'd have to also say The Poison by Bullet for My Valentine. That's like a huge influence on me. Again, another album I can listen to almost every day and not get bored. And I'll tell you this, just as on a personal note, I spent £180 buying a ticket to see them play it next year at the Corp Arena because I missed both sales. So resale price as it was. That's how dedicated I am to see that album get played for like the last time. Yeah. And then for number 3, good question. Probably number 3 is probably Are We All the Same Distance Apart by Crooks. Crooks UK. Those 3 albums are probably the most influential albums on me by far. Like I can probably sing every song on there back to back without even thinking about it, or play the riffs with my mouth. Obviously I can't play guitar that well non-stop, you know. Those 3 albums. Bullet growing up was all I really listened to. Modern Colour is a much more recent addition to the favourites, but they're an incredible band if you've never listened to them. And then Crooks, you know, I found them in my formative teenage years. And obviously they released one album and then disappeared. I think there's a myriad of people who miss Crooks and wish they'd come back. It's kind of like the same energy. They're like the British title fight, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, everyone wants a title fight reunion. Fingers crossed. Everyone wants a Crooks reunion. Fingers crossed.
That's so funny. I was just I think I was just thinking to what was the one before Crooks?
The Poison.
No, not the Poison. The other one.
From the leaves. Oh, do you mean what I said?
Yes, what you said.
Yeah. From the leaves of your garden. Modern Colour.
Modern Colour. I think I was listening to this. They came up on my Discovery, and they were really, really fucking good.
They are growing very quickly. But like, yeah, I don't know in the UK, but stateside, sure, they just finished a tour with like Citizen, which is massive.
Citizen.
Yeah, so like, yeah, if you haven't listened to them properly, I would give them a listen. And they're about, I feel like they don't even know me, but I feel like I'm shilling for them. They're about to tour in June in the UK, so don't miss it. Yeah.
And I just wanted to, we'll end on a proper what to expect, but just another one on a bit more of a top three. What would, if you had to pick three headline acts for a festival, who would those three?
Yeah.
No, scrap that because we've done the 3 albums. If you could tour with 3 bands, who would they be and why?
Tour with 3 bands. Before we do that, I'm going to swap out one of my choices for the 3 albums, actually.
Yeah.
If that's all right with you. Okay, cool. Let's swap out the Poison. It is a top 3, but I'd probably put it at 4. And let's change it for Super Unknown by Soundgarden. That's definitely my top 3, yeah. Let's do that. So that'd be From the Leaves of Your Garden, Modern Colour, Super Unknown, Soundgarden, and I'll Wheel the Same Distance Apart, Crooks. There we go. So, okay, anyway, three bands I'd like to go on tour with. Thank you. Number 1 would be, I won't say Modern Colour again, it's a bit lame. 3 questions, man. 3 fresh bands I'd like to go on tour with.
You can say Bullet for My Valentine again, because we discarded that in the previous part.
Oh yeah, Bullet then. Bullet's a band I'd love to play with.
Would you be?
Did you say play with or headline a festival? What was the question? Sorry.
It was play with, play support.
Yeah, Bullet for sure. I'd love to play with Bullet. Another one would be, I'm gonna go for Deftones. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That'll never happen, but that would be incredible. I'm sure you get loads of people who say they'd love to play with Deftones, so I'm just gonna throw myself into that ring. Yeah. And then the last one, I'm going to count this as the most important one. Think of someone very cool. Who do I love?
It doesn't have to be cool, mate. It's whoever you want to tour with. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be anyone.
I have so many bands. There's just someone I want to choose who like means the most to me.
Someone that's cool that you imagine you could just kick up your feet and just have a chat and just like have a bit of banter with on the road. Like, you know, you're sharing a van with these people for 6 months. Give it. Someone
quite a long time
to get on with, you know, not to say Deftones or Bullet wouldn't be, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, you never know, they could be arseholes.
No. Perhaps Running Yankee, you know.
Yeah. That's a really good question. There's so many choices. Let me have a quick look at what I've been listening to recently. See if anything springs to mind. Oh, I know. Fleshwater.
Nice, not heard of them.
That would be incredible to go on to, especially because they're like, some of them are part of the FM collectives, so some of them are in Vane. I'd love to talk to them about just how they come together to write music for Vane and Fleshwater and how that works. I think they're great musicians. I'd love to hang out with them.
Nice. That's a new one I've not heard of, so I'm gonna have to go away and check them out.
Fleshwater are great, man. So there's like, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this, but they've got like, you know Vane, do you know the band Vane?
Who, sorry? Van Halen?
Vane. VEI.
No, not heard of them.
Okay, so they're like super heavy metalcore, very like, you know, new metal influence. You know, they've even got a turntable player, which is pretty cool.
Sick.
But they're like,
my language.
They're like called like Vane.fm, and .fm is like some collective they've created.
Oh.
So some of the members are also in a band called Fleshwater, and Fleshwater is very much like grungy kind of. Still like early 2000s, but like a lot more like singing and fun rather than heavy metalcore. But I just love the like diversity between. I just love how they make that work. Because coming from a guy in a band, managing one band is difficult enough, but having 2 under like the same banner, it must be a nightmare. So I just love to hang out with them. Like, how do you keep your cool? How do you separate your writing brains for both bands? It'd just be a bit interesting to see. They're great musicians. I'd love to talk to them. I'm playing with them, obviously.
Yeah. I think on that note, obviously future planning and everything. I wanted to say, what can fans and potential fans coming from this interview expect from Heaven Unknown in the coming months or even year?
Coming months, still more new music. We still have songs ready to go. Hopefully some more shows, but we're just trying to find the best area to pull the best people, you know. With a lot of new music, I think is the bottom line. As I said earlier, we've been offered some cool things, but puts things up in the air a little bit while we figure out the details. So maybe you'll see us come out with a bit of a bang in a couple months. If it all falls through, you'll see us releasing regularly like normal. But a lot of releases to be looking forward to, for sure.